ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, TheScoreEsports.com, Mountain Dew, and ESEA.
We are back, baby. Season 4 of the ESL Pro League is about to go down, and you guys have had a bit of a holiday. So has CS in general. It's been a while. Okay, he's rolling his eyes. Yanko's had a holiday.
I don't think you can call sitting in a room by yourself in the dark a holiday, but you know, I've been doing that. It's been good.
Sounds just like Henry's holidays. Yeah. That's how Christmas looks for Henry. Anyway, as introduction should be, I'm Alex Machine Richardson. I've got myself, Yanko, and Henry G hanging out to talk about some Counter-Strike. And first of all, you actually saw some sun. You got a little bit of a tan, right, Yanko? I saw some Facebook pictures. It looked like you were having some fun.
Yeah, definitely had a lot of fun. Not really sure about the tanning part. I don't think that's
He's looking a little browner. A little bit browner.
It's not on my level yet. But
no,
you know,
I mean, me and Henry, it's a close race.
Anyway, the tanned Grecian guard will continue to drive the discussion forward, and we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about CS as a whole, because it has had a little bit of a hiatus, and we're coming back thick and fast now. There's so much to look forward to.
What a week it's been. Like, absolutely nuts. We've had so many big announcements. Like, there was another one dropped today. I'm sure we'll get in there with the whole FaZe mix-up as well. But obviously the Fnatic Godsend thing going on. We covered it yesterday. It's absolutely nuts. Like, no one saw that coming. And we actually got to see Godsend play for the first time versus VP the other day.
We did, and we won't be seeing them in the Pro League. That was, of course, the wild card match. And that was what we did see. It was just not yesterday, the day before. I had the great pleasure of casting it. I mean, Yanko, did you see that move coming? Did you see the Swedes just butting heads and mixing?
Not really on that scale. I was expecting some other maybe teams to be involved in the shuffle as well, but I think a lot of people jumped on the hype train with Godsend being 4 out of the 5 players of the old Fnatic lineup, of course, and I think that also a lot of people are underestimating Fnatic. For me, when you have the trio of all of Dennis and Twist, you can never underestimate a team with that much talent, and also Lekro and Venton both have showed potential. For me, the biggest issue for them is going to be the in-game leader subject, but we'll have to wait and see. I guess.
And we'll be talking more about leadership. It's very relevant at the moment. But, I mean, Olof not going with Crims. That was a bit weird, right? The old LGB?
That's one of the most classic duos of all time, I think, in terms of CSGO. Like, they were, the synergy they have together, the way they hold bomb sites, it's absolutely nuts. But it turns out it was more like a friendship thing. I think there's been some sort of divide. You saw at events, some cracks are starting to show, and finally it's happened. And I don't think anyone really saw this kind of move coming. But like I said, I think it's actually quite exciting for Fnatic. It's more of a development project and something they can take time to work towards and make something great instead of getting the kind of instant success we're going to expect from the Godsend lineup, maybe.
Yeah, and of course, they'll have plenty of time to prepare for themselves. Not present in the Pro League, of course, VP picking that up 2-0. And that does mean we have our 14 locked in. Let's throw them up on your face and you can take in, breathe in what you're going to be watching over the next course of the next, well, over 9 weeks. You got yourself the usual lot. Of course, the usual suspects, Fnatic are there.
We're VP from the beginning at the bottom of the table,
Just
of course.
Start how you intend to go on.
But most notably, of course, today you'll be seeing Team X sitting there alongside FaZe. You get to see the Virtus.Pro boys going up against NIP as well. And I've already hinted at it. You obviously should see them as well. You've got two best of 2s. That's hard to say. 2 best of 2s coming up, and we get to see, I mean, let's be honest, FaZe is going to be a discussion topic. This has just been dropped as well. Henry, you already hinted at it. So much news.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another move. I think it's a little bit more predictable in terms of, like, it's more understandable. FaZe have been pretty underwhelming throughout the whole project, I would say. The AWPing situation has always been a bit of a wild card for them. It's Fox, who's, I'd say he's a decent player, but he's never going to be like in the top 10 sort of region. We know Alu has the superstar potential. They need someone to fill that void. And I think it's definitely a good move for him. Ents, we covered it pretty heavily yesterday. That's definitely been disappointing overall. Like, they've got so much experience behind them in terms of the organization and big names in there as well. Just it wasn't coming together. And I feel like that assembly performance they had, where that's their home turf, right? That's an event they should be winning, crashing out in the semi-finals. And I think that was probably the
final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, for him at least. Like, he's so used to being like one of the most famous players in the world, right? Like, Alu in NIP was such a big
star.
Yeah, he's a superstar, and now he's back into the limelight. I think this is where he feels more comfortable. It's an international team. Doesn't have to go to a team house. Doesn't have to go to America. Mainly based online. So yeah, this is pretty good for him.
Yeah, we'll be talking more about that in just a moment. But first, let's actually bring up the maps. They are locked in. We can see exactly what's going to be going down today. You will be seeing FaZe, and they go up against none other than Team X. Now, Yanko, you were actually talking to me off air about Team X, suggesting that they might have doing a lot of homework over this holiday period.
Yeah, I think that these first couple of days are going to be really messy because we had a lot of roster changes and a lot of players have been on vacation in the past 2 weeks. Some of them haven't even played CS at all. While Team X, on the other hand, had to play these qualifiers, Star Ladder qualifiers, the ECS Open qualifiers as well, and they've been doing really well. I think they managed to qualify for both, at least so far, and there's definitely potential in that team. You have some veterans as Freeze and Modi and Snap in there, and the young gun in Valde. Which he has been performing pretty well, at least online. So I think there's definitely room for upset here.
I mean, Valdi was the one that caught my eye at DreamHack Open. I mean, that was when I became a little bit of a fanboy for him. He turned up in a big way in that kind of standing position alongside Glaive.
Yeah, Glaive is another, like, he's the wise player behind them, always going to be holding them together. He's a very good in-game leader, very intelligent player. He's actually, when we saw him, he's merked for a couple of teams recently, like for Astralis. I think he can fit in very nicely to most teams. I feel like this is a great fit for him, and I hope to see them actually do some good things. Obviously, they had some turbulence, the whole SK split, and hopefully they can fight back. They've got a decent set of players there. Got very strong AWP and Frizz. Modi, just like the veteran, the classic CS legend. He's very strong when he's in good form. Yeah. That's the problem right now for a lot of these teams, but as Yanko said, these guys have been playing in qualifiers. So, and with FaZe coming into this new player, that was not a move that was being in the works for a long time. That's like a 1 week sort of thing, right? That day's.
It's quite quick to push the paperwork, right?
We kind of heard about this coming like maybe a week ago. That's when we first started hearing like the rumors circulating. That was like as talks were beginning as well. So it's been a very quick move. It's a buyout. It wasn't like the end of a contract or anything. It was a quick buyout, and we'll see whether it fits in. I feel like it's a good move, but just looking at the flags right now, like I know speaking in English is always a bit of a trouble for these kind of teams, but we'll see how they gel together. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be an interesting project.
Maybe this is where we touch a little bit on the coach topic that
Let's do it,
was just announced, because I think that people initially think that coaches only help with tactics and that sort of stuff. I think coaches really have a huge role in CS right now in terms of communication in game as well, right? It allows for players to focus more on their crosshairs, on their individual play, and the coach can be the one who's listening to the comms of all the 5 players and then pointing younger players maybe and more aim stars, pointing them to, okay, now you rotate, now you push, do this, do that, right? I think it's going to be a big deal if everyone follows this move.
I mean, let's not forget as well that this was something that we were highlighted constantly, that we see in-game leaders underperforming on the scoreboard because of this very reason.
Well, FaZe is a perfect example of this. They've tried absolutely everyone. No one's a natural leader within that team. They brought Roban in to actually take over that role. I'm not sure whether he's actually fully calling for them, but he's there to actually guide them in. Is actually, is that confirmed? Okay, but basically he was brought in to kind of like get the fundamentals there, get the actual basic approach to CS. It was such a mess before. Like it was like Rain was calling, and then they switched over to the next guy the next week, and it was just like no one really knew what was going on. Every event they were just saying, we can't win these events playing like a mix. And I mean, that's what coming in and saying.
I understand that. That's why you have so few in-game leaders, right? It's hard.
Excuse me.
It's a hard.
Did I do that?
I can hear Lauren laughing from the other side.
I'm too high. I'm too tall. Wait, here I go.
Nice.
Okay.
You had your fun, Alex?
I'm ready. Sorry, carry on. Let's talk about some Counter-Strike.
Yeah, so I think that's a big deal, actually, because it's a lot of work, keeping track of the economy, playing, and also keeping an eye on what's going on in the round, making the best decision for your team, right? But what I don't understand is, like, you initially bring in coaches, and then you're starting to take it away from teams after so many teams have adapted, right? You have teams like Navi, for example, who I don't think they would have made their roster change if they knew this move was happening. So if Starix can't call for that team, let's say, if he can't be involved as much as he is, I think they're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, and I mean, we do just need to, I realize we haven't actually highlighted it. For someone, the uninitiated, we should probably explain this coach change, what it has been, just very briefly. From what we've read, it sounds like they're changing timeouts. Coaches will no longer be able to be vocal during the round and during the game. As far as I understand it, they get 4 30-second timeouts where the coach can come in and make those changes.
And warm-up and halftime.
Okay.
For now, though, that's just a Valve event, but it makes sense that all other tournaments have to
that,
follow suit, right? Like, there's no point not following the one system. It wouldn't work.
But I mean, if you go through and think about it, there's a lot of the big teams have those coaches behind them, right? You mentioned Starix. I would have mentioned SK, of course, who's recently departed. Threat, oh, that's a very big one for NIP. I mean, he revolutionized that team.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's still a work in progress. For him to actually give the role back to someone else, that's going to be very difficult. I think for me, this move, I thought a lot of people kind of agree with it. If like the argument is, traditional sports, you don't have someone in your ear the whole time and like telling you exactly what to do. But on the other hand, some sports you can hear your manager at all times. And the thing is, like in CS, it's a bit of a different prospect, right? They can tell you exactly what to do. They're watching every single player, and they have like a direct strategy to start of every round.
I mean, I know a person who's going to love this change. It's Vendetta. He was always against coaches. Yeah, because it is a big part of the game, right? Being able to, as a player, focus individually on the game, but also listen to your teammates, listen to the calls, and try and figure out what's happening on the map for yourself. I mean, it's a big difference if you can't do it and you need the person standing behind you and telling you, okay, they're preparing for an A, execute, position yourself properly, or if you can do that by yourself, right? If you can't and you don't have someone doing it for you, well, that makes you a weaker player, all things considered.
Historically, though, like if you look at the great in-game leaders of all time, like I think there is an argument to say like you have to have slightly less fragging power as an in-game leader as you would without that responsibility, but to say you will consistently be bottom of the scoreboard all the time, I don't think that's like a valid argument. I think that's if you can't handle the responsibility and frag at the same time, you shouldn't be doing that role. It shouldn't be something you should be doing. But for me, like the in-game when I was doing it, I used to enjoy it because I get the feel of I can hear the footsteps, I can make split-second decisions. When I hear something and I'm at the front of the pack and I want to execute, I say we do something. There's an input lag between me as a coach and telling them what to do and waiting like maybe 1 second, and I mean you can get in there straight away. Carrigan's very good at that. When Stratus were in top form and then TSM before that, he was good at just getting you feel something happening, and he doesn't even need to make the call. He can go in first and actually open up bomb sites and have that kind of dynamic.
So do you think it's supposed to be one person's job, or do you think it's a team effort? Like I know that's an interesting debate. Like should there be an actual dialogue between players, or is it one man making that call?
I think it's definitely a team effort in a sense that everyone has to give input so that the in-game leader can have all the information necessary and that he can make the best decision possible. Ideally, you have an in-game leader, the main guy, but you also have like a secondary caller, right? Like you had with Existence and Shocks. You have someone rolling out the main game plan, but then you also have a player who's good at maybe mid-round calling, or he can give the crucial info to your in-game leader. Maybe, okay, I just heard one guy rotate there 3 towards B, and then you can execute towards the other bomb sites, giving the real crucial relevant info.
Yeah, it's spotting the vulnerabilities across the map. As the in-game leader, obviously you only have one view of the screen, like you can see what you're doing, and the communications, like obviously you can get some sort of call there, but if someone spotted a weakness, a way they're setting up in crossfires and bomb sites, that's very valuable to make sure that there are players who understand the game at a similar sort of level and can give those inputs instead of like the strategy you should be running, the defaults way you should be approaching the rounds.
And this is where we do start the ESL Pro League. Our 4th season kicks off with FaZe, of course, with new man Alu at the reins alongside Team X, Freeze, Glaive, Modi, Snappy and Valdi. Now, what's interesting is actually this Team X roster may not be familiar to you if you haven't really been paying attention to the news or haven't been watching the slightly smaller qualifiers that have been going on. And so we'll take this opportunity to perhaps maybe explain some of these names. For me, personally, Snappy is one that I'd like to have explained. Yanko, you were telling me he's got some real history in CS.
Yeah, he played in 1.6. He never was, I think, in the, he wasn't in the top tier teams like MTW was, Zonix team, but he was in those secondary teams in the Danish scene, definitely competitive, attended international events. So he's a player with a lot of experience. I think he stepped into CSGO a bit, late, so to speak. I mean, he wasn't there from the beginning, but he seems to have, found his ground. I think he played with Freeze also before in 1.6, so that's probably the link you have him coming into this team.
But I mean, like, this is so far from what the old roster was. The likes of Asilian have been and gone. What's your expectations when you see those 5 names, Henry? Do you have high hopes? I mean, I
think so. Yeah? I feel like there's enough experience there and young blood as well. And I think like the addition of some of the younger guys, it's a great balance to have in terms of a Counter-Strike team. You have the guys who are really like hungry for victories and want to work hard in terms of the younger guys, and you've got all that experience. The big players have been on the big stage before. They can kind of give their wisdom down to these kind of younger guys. I like the lineup. I think it looks great on paper. I think like they're obviously going to work hard. They're looking for an organization right now. They want to prove their worth. It's like getting to the end of the line for some of these guys, been around for like 10+ years sort of thing. They want to have one real last go at it, like in this kind of lineup. Can't just be bouncing around.
It's a bit cruel, Henry.
Well, do you know what I mean?
Well, no,
it's just like, do you know what I mean? Like when they haven't like the Modi and Frizz, they've always just been on the cusp,
yeah,
of like the top end of the scene. Like there's only so long you can play for, right? And we'd love to see them have a really successful lineup, get really deep in some tournaments. They definitely have the potential to do it. It's just how hard they're going to work and whether they can turn up.
You guys have heard what they have to say, what their expectations are for this matchup. What are yours? Please do hit us up on the hashtag ESL Pro League. That's where all of this is going to be going on throughout the entire season. It's hashtag ESL Pro League, and you can go ahead and tell us what you think is going to go down between FaZe and X. It does feel like it's still a bit of a question mark. It's like, yes, FaZe perhaps have caused upsets recently. I mean, at the major, we saw them find success versus Fnatic in that best of one.
This is the thing with this kind of team. You never really know. They're so reliant on firepower as a whole. They've got so much great players on paper like Rain, Jacob, AZ, who should be
the best.
He should be like one of the best players. Like when he left Dignitas, he was like one of the hottest properties in CS:GO at that time. Like it was crazy how good he was in that team. He came over to the FaZe lineup, and for me, he's obviously had some good games. He's a very strong player, but like he hasn't lived up to the expectations I would have put on him as a player in a whole. So if those guys kick off, and obviously like you have that kind of honeymoon period, everyone's a bit happy. There's a new player coming in. You feel like you're going to be lifted as a squad. You've got Alu coming in, another superstar name. So you never know what's going to happen here. This is a very unknown quantity.
And of course, talking about new player, it's weird now, but Kyo is no longer the newest player in FaZe, but his presence is still rather new. And I remember talking to him actually in the qualifiers for the major, and he was telling me that he was doing some of the leadership. Like he had to step in because there was no one else there. Robban wasn't providing, and so Kyo was providing leadership. Did this Frenchman's presence reinvigorate them in any way, make any kind of impact early, do you think, Yenko?
I think it's what Henry mentioned in a sense that was also a honeymoon phase when you always change a player. You're always super motivated because you feel this is the change we needed now to make the next step. And he definitely can bring a lot of input, having played with MBS and being the major champion as well. But I do feel that this is going to be super hard to call because I think that FaZe can easily, you know, just run over Team X with their individual skill. But if they don't show up, they can easily crumble. And seeing as the first map is Train, that's a good map for Team X. They play those custom maps like Train, Overpass, Cobble.
Yeah, this is one of the maps as well where FaZe, they're decent on it as well. Like, this is one of the map where Fox is the main op on the CD side. He's actually pretty good at this map. He's actually quite a strong player for them towards Ivy and main. Adu coming into it, he kind of slots in perfectly to that role, right? He's going to be coming in, he's going to be AWPing, he's going to be feeling fresh, he's kind of escaped. I'm not, like, I don't want to be...
Escaped ENCE?
ENCE has just been such a, like an interesting project as a whole. It's been so disappointing for me. Like I said before, the potential that team had, and it just never really lived up to anything.
Natu is crying somewhere right now.
No, he's playing that match, actually.
Yeah, he's actually stepping in, he's coming out.
He's playing?
Yeah, imagine that. One more year. It's coming.
Yeah, he keeps trying to get out.
Like I love the idea of the...
pulled me back.
We kind of explored that on our show. It's like the fact that Finnish seems to be some of the best in the world now, and CS:GO hasn't ever really happened. And I don't know. I think that for Adu, it was just a matter of time. That performance in Assembly really that was the end of it. I think I could feel it at the end of the tournament. Not even coming into the final in a tournament, you should be like, you're the hometown favourites, and it's a tier 3 tournament.
Who did they lose to in the end?
Space Soldiers or Epsilon. That was the semi-final. I can't actually remember. We casted like 15 maps that day, Alex. I can't really remember.
This is going to be a little leisurely stroll for you then, Henry, today.
But yeah, like I've always liked Adu as a player. Very smart, very like, does have the superstar potential as well. And AWPing, I feel like in Mouse Sports, we saw him like maybe more of a rifle role because that's what Chris J was taking it over. But when he was doing AWPing and NIP, it was like, you saw all the clips and stuff like that. He has so much potential to be like really aggressive and super dynamic with that weapon as well.
So we breezed past it. We did talk about it lightly before, but I do want to just explore it a little further. Was the criticism hailed against Fox throughout his time in FaZe fair? Was it justified or was it exaggerated?
Interesting. Yankee, you can start that.
Yeah.
I think that Fox obviously had his flaws as a player. I think he was much better when he took over the main op role, right? He was more confident in it. You could see that in the moves he was making, that he understood the game. Well, I mean, Fox was one of the... in that region, in Portugal, Spain, he was absolutely the best player. Even when he played in 1.6 with Kick, when they would show up at some of these events, he was really good individually. So I was surprised personally that he didn't perform better when he joined the FaZe initially. But I think they just need a bit more than that, right? They need more than just a guy who's going to be consistent, but never going to make those, never going to have those star performances, right? As your main opera, you kind of need a player like that.
Yeah, Yank is absolutely right. When we saw him in the Portuguese teams, that's when he was the star player, right? He was the #1 guy in the team, and like everything was based around him. I think that's when he really shines, when everyone's like kind of believing in him.
Sure. I
feel like in these kind of teams, like this Kingwin project as a whole, and Kingwin and G2 and FaZe, he's always just been like the players. It's like he's gone from the superstar player to the complete support role. And he actually filled that role very well. I think he got a bit too much stick for the way he was playing. Like, he was given a role and he filled it to like an acceptable degree. It wasn't like he was playing badly. He was like purely holding flanks and like coming into bomb sites last, or is like absolutely not really having a role where he can actually open up the map, you know? So
talking about roles of AWPers then, are you saying that you can genuinely have a passive AWPer?
No, he wasn't even AWPing at the beginning of this project. He was like, he was completely taken off that role completely. He was just rifling and just holding, doing the grenades and coming in.
That's why he was so uncomfortable.
And then they've tried to put him onto your role towards the last few months, and it's not been anything amazing, right? It's been enough to fill the role, but it's not going to be winning huge games or having the crazy clutches like we can see from players like Ali, you know?
I mean, you can have a more passive AWPer and still perform really well. I think a good example is Team Liquid at the major. JDM, most of the time, is not a player who's going to go for those, you know, crazy peaks early on. He's more of a guy who needs his teammates to create the space for him to get entry to the bomb site, and then he can, you know, position himself almost as a turret and then just take those long-range battles. He's really proficient in that. That's why one of the main reasons why Liquid performed so well at that tournament. And I also don't think that you can blame any player from FaZe individually too much, because I felt that their biggest problem was having cohesion as a team, right?
Yeah.
And when you don't have a good coordination as a team, it's hard for any individual to step up a lot.
Oh, yeah, the door keeps spinning on this team. Like, they can't find the recipe to make it work. Right? We've
Maybe
seen so many players come through in this term of like I said, from the Kingwin where it first started. I mean, like Scream and Michael Ailey and stuff like that. It's like Fox is probably one of the last remaining standing players. Who's a part of the original?
Rain, I think.
Rain is the last player who's
yeah.
left. And I just go to show you, like, they started this project off saying this is the way CS is going to be, boys. We've got the coach calling, an international team. Like, that hasn't worked out. I said, like, they've had a couple of good tournaments to get to the semi-finals, but in terms of like the potential when you read this on paper, what it should live up to, it's been pretty underwhelming as a whole.
Coach gets a back ban, of course.
Yeah, well, that was a great start. This is the future of CS. Oh,
they have been plagued with problems. That's true, but. So, you know, that's actually a really interesting discussion. It will be our final discussion before we do enter game. They're loading into the server now. Ooh. But in terms of, like, is this the future? The whole idea of having 5 aimers, of course, now with the coaching change, it does get a bit dicey. But is there an argument that they're communicating in their second language and it makes things... Like, no one can find the answer why FaZe aren't the best. You know, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. Could you just start talking about communication and the fact that they don't speak the same language?
I think it's one of the reasons. And I think that with this coach change, I think it's going to maybe put more emphasis on communication as a whole, not just, you know, calling spots, but giving good info and players paying attention to it, right? Because, you know, someone may be giving you information, but you're too focused on your crosshair, you didn't even hear it, and then you're all of a sudden surprised by something happening, right? I think those are the things that we can't really see in a game. We can't really talk about it on the analyst desk after the game because we don't know what's going on TeamSpeak and in the comms of teams. But that's a really, really incremental part of, you know, a player's skill set.
I like that. Incremental as well. That's a mental word. I like that one a lot. I do want to quickly return to someone.
Alex.
I try every night. I choose a new word. I try and learn a new English word every day. Today is synchronicity. That was one I used the other day. I was quite a fan of that word. But moving into something actually related to the conversation.
Go on.
You know how we're talking about Fox and the criticism, hail to him?
Yep.
Did Glaive exceed expectations at the major? Because I remember there was a lot of people going, why the hell Glaive, when Astralis pulled him in to be their stand-in. However, looking at the stats, looking at the kind of the post-major results, it does seem like he did a very good job amongst Astralis, and now he's within Team X.
I mean, definitely. I thought that he was a good pick for Astralis as a sub, because I always think that when it comes to a big event like that, you want a player who is experienced, right, who has good game sense as well, more than just have a raw aimer, because, you know, those players may be inconsistent at times, and Glaive really really proved his worth at the major. I also feel that this is a problem for Team X, right? Because no matter how well they perform, you're afraid that they're just going to be another farming team. Because what happens if, let's say, Astralis, you know, for some reason, I have no, this is pure speculation, guys. Yeah. So let's say tomorrow they want to like kick Kerrigan, right? Well, in my opinion, their like first choice would probably be Glaive. And how does Team X keep Glaive? Considering an offer from Astralis, same goes for Valde.
Such a good point, right? Because they're not getting the big salaries, it's their own little org. And
it's not even an org, I don't think, is it?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's a temporary home, right? And then you get the offer, you're waiting, you're grinding away, trying to prove yourself as a team. Astralis come along and it's just like, well, we need a new player. Glaive, he's already played with us, and it's just too tempting, right? Take that big salary, be part of the best team in Denmark at the moment. The work's already done, the foundation's already there. it's almost too good to say no to.
We saw Kiebi fall into that same trap. I mean, you know, he got farmed up. He was in that secondary Danish roster, and then it's like, hey, good spot.
It's definitely frustrating for these guys why they can sometimes never escape this kind of level in terms of where the team's at. Because as soon as you start getting good results, that's when you start turning heads, and some of the star players are starting to show how good they are.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Astralis, like I said, I use them as an example. They're struggling in certain situations. They need something to change. Why not take one of these guys? You've got 3 Danes there, and 4 Danes, and it's a real problem for these kind of teams.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't really escape it, especially when there's no contracts in place. You're just like, well, can't really stop him.
And I feel like FaZe is probably the one that's witnessed that the most, right? Like I feel like he has been around since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Always just unable to break. You said the cusp. I think that's a perfect way to describe where FaZe has been.
Well, I mean, in CSGO at least, because in 1.6, towards the end of 1.6, he actually played in Fnatic with Kerrigan, and they were the world's best team pretty much at the end. So I feel that FaZe in the beginning of CSGO wasn't close to his level of play. He was maybe even the best operator in the world in 1.6 towards the very end and for a short period of time. So I think he's been playing better recently. It's one of the reasons why Team X has been performing better. And I saw a couple of tweets from him saying that he felt more comfortable with this team, that he was playing more of a support role before that didn't really suit him. So now he has more freedom in his play, which is definitely a good thing. Just look at Fallen when he was, supporting the secondary operator with ZQK, and then when he actually took over the primary role as he had in 1.6, now he's one of the best operators in the world.
Yeah, an argument probably to be the best, wouldn't you say? Like at this point in time, he probably is up there up for debate anyway. We'll have that debate another time as we are closing in on that game. Do not fear, folks. You'll get rid of our hideous faces in just a moment.
Went from handsome a minute ago.
Well, I mean, I like to keep it mixed up. I can't keep throwing compliments at you. I have to treat you mean to keep you keen.
Oh, no, this feels sad.
Oh, but I do like that we've coordinated. We've gone for a very kind of a vibrant summer season set.
Yeah, I didn't get the blue.
Didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
I think this is actually supposed to be purple. No, it really isn't, is it?
No, that's just
it's a little bit purpley. It's a navy perp. You're not feeling it? Okay.
Thank you, producer. We can throw it.
Yes, that's insane. Guys, they're talking about suits. Let's get them off camera.
Alex is talking about suits. I think that's the
when
biggest,
you know you've made a mistake.
That's the biggest problem.
All right, let's get into it, guys. It is time for our first map. It's none other than Train between FaZe and Team X, and your casting pair is Uber and Pansy.
Thank you very much, Alex, and welcome to the casting desk. I'm Mitch Leslie.
I'm just going to quickly jump in and say it's a really good idea, I feel, to come to us two for some more analysis.
Some real deep fill.
Yeah, to get away from the analysis desk there, because we bring the real content, I feel.
We go deep for those cuts of information. We're shanking them off left, right, and centre line. We're bringing them here.
Don't bring up good babs, Mitch. I'll get excited.
Oh, I won the other night. It was excellent. There we go. Nice. We're off to a great start here as well. But of course, we have switched servers a couple times. That's why we've been taking a few moments to get into game. But of course, there's a lot to talk about over these two teams, Lauren, as well. I'm sure you've been thinking, and you got a lot of prep here as well, all ready to go. So
it's on the other side of this page, and I assure you, it's nuts.
Again, but I mean, Team X, obviously, we knew them as SK, and then Magisk went to Dignitas. They brought Acelion in. Acelion went to Splice, and here we go. But now they are in this form as well. Snappy's actually IGLing for this team. I don't know if they even talked about that there as well. So a bloke who's got a lot of experience in CS in general, like they said, came a little bit later into CSGO. But this guy's been on, what, TCM, Copenhagen Wolves, and Nexus, way back in 1.6 days. So he's been around.
Yeah, he gets around. We are in warm-up, in case you're wondering. Or at least I've been told. If they have lied, I'll be amazed, but no, this should be warm-up. Indeed. If not, this should be really weird for a first round.
Yeah, no. So I'm trying to see here as well if it's... Obviously, Robin sat in game, but often the coaches do. I'm trying to see if my scoreboard comes up. Because we're wondering if Alu's actually... Well, we expect these should be playing tonight, for all intents and purposes here, as it was announced.
I don't see him on the server, so...
So if they play with Robin, that'd be quite interesting. It would be the first time it's happened, Lauren. We saw it last season happen on more than one occasion. And the bloke gave a decent account of himself, to be fair.
Awful. Like, you're not going to expect him to be top of the scoreboard, but he was all right.
Given new announcements, you might have to start to head in that direction, Lauren, you know?
Yeah.
Pick up the old running boots and the AWP off the wall.
That's the one.
Dust it off. So, I mean, FaZe, let's assume that they are going to be bringing Alu in here as well. Obviously, that's super interesting. They've already been talking about that a bit on the desk. Guy's been going pretty nuts for ENCE, obviously, in recent times. He's maintained a really, really sick rating, if that's what you're sort of interested in here as well. Do you think it's kind of because, obviously, coming away from NIP, he started off really strongly performing for NIP, and then do you ever think he took a backseat to the Get Right and Forest show and was sort of forced into a bit more of a secondary role on NIP, or do you think he himself just grew a bit more stale in that environment?
I think it's always a weird one with Alu. The guy is incredibly talented. I've always felt individually he's a very talented player. I think he was more prevalent in, I think it was with Maus at the end as well. Like him and Chris J always kind of seeming to be reaching for that open position, and how it kind of worked out as a as an entire lineup was always quite unique. So I was always interested in that one. And yeah, I'm just waiting to see what happens with Alu. How much can he actually do in this lineup? You know, it's a massive question on him, and it's finding a big opportunity, because it did feel as though he kind of shied away from being in that very, very much the tier 1 band of teams for quite some time, or at least, in the most recent times. So it's nice to see him back there and see what he can bring in. I can imagine he's going to be hungry as hell to prove it as well. And the one thing you could say about FaZe is that Fox probably wasn't if you look at everyone else in that lineup and you look at the roles they play, they're pretty sick at it, let's be honest. They are, the people who go, okay, they're superstars. Whether or not they necessarily perform like that all the time, debatable. But Fox was never that guy, I felt, in CSGO specifically, but Alu can be. God Alu, it happens.
This is just it as well. You've got a team stacked to the brim of sick players. I mean, some people would say only they all have potential to be that star player in the team, right? And then when you have Fox, when he moves over to the AWP, and even Thorin was sort of saying this as well at one point, that a lot of his performances started to dip as well. And then you're Jacob, right, getting 4K to win the round. You pick up the AWP at the end of the round and you hand it back to Fox, who's been struggling in that game already. It's like, how do you justify constantly doing this? You need your solo AWPer to really be performing a lot. And obviously Fox is 30 now. We're not talking about how age can limit a player, because we'll look at Virtus.Pro as a good example here.
Mitch.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. But Alu, I think Alu's hungry. He comes in, he's 24 years old as well, so he's got a bit of an advantage there as well. A bit younger, a bit more years in the tank, I suppose, safe to say.
He's more sprightly.
He is more sprightly. Yeah, I mean, like Fox is a grizzled veteran by comparison, to be fair.
Yeah, we are still waiting. This is still one on. I'm actually not sure what we're waiting on. There's a couple of server issues. I assume it's getting the players in, but it wouldn't be the Pro League, Mitch, if there wasn't a delay at the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you guys, I know you missed the CS. You missed this sort of action. You missed this sort of fill. And you got it in the first game.
That's it. And of course, people wondering about some of the logos on the side as well. It's just the way the system works. So Keo still registered on the system as being an envious player. God, the old days. And obviously FaZe and Modi have SK logos still. But it is, of course, Team X versus FaZe. And FaZe's story, man, they really showed up at the qualifiers for Cologne, of course. They didn't go in as being legends at all. They had to play through in Katowice, where we had that, like, 8 best-of-1s a day for, like, 4 days going on. They were sick there, really, really strong. They smashed G2 coming out the gate straight away, who we thought G2 were hot favourites there. But then what? Since then, 9th to 10th at E-League. They lost to Mouse in the last chance qualifier for E-League. They fell on the group stages of ESL 1 Cologne. They got last place at DreamHack Masters Malmo. So that's some more of their recent performances that, maybe disappointed people a little bit after seeing how well they performed at the Katowice qualifier for the last major.
It's always been a matter of consistency, though, hasn't it? That's always been the biggest tale, I feel, with FaZe, is consistency among players, consistency as a team, converting those, let's say those one-round moments for individual players, or that one individual tournament for the whole team, into a consistent run. Now, how you do that when you're depending on aim, I hate saying they depend on aim. It's just the style of that team that they have.
Well, you asked them that, they'll say it. They said it to me in Katowice. I mean, like, Rain wouldn't give me a straight answer. He just said, yeah, we just do whatever. I'm like, oh, brilliant, mate. Thanks for the interview.
Tough for that, buddy. No, but yeah, finding consistency in that is always going to be tough, and building a team around it is always going to have the issue of inconsistency. So again, if they find a way to kind of combat that, you've got a really dangerous team, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows they've got that dangerous capability beside them, but it's a matter of bringing it to the forefront now with these additions coming through, that being Keo, obviously still relatively recently, but he's settled in now, and then some. And of course, Alu there as well.
He's back, he's in the service, so confirmed. Obviously, we're going to see Alu tonight. And then Team X, good lord. I mean, I think we remember back of sort of Valde was being a stand-in for SK at DreamHack Summer with Glaive, actually. And they were the only team, SK at the time, were the only team to actually take maps off of Immortals. And Immortals had to fight back against them in like a best-of-3 to even get through. And it was a 2-1 to Immortals, who ultimately went on to win DreamHack Summer. So that team, that SK team with Valde and Glaive thrown in, was really, really quite good compared to the recent performance. So we're going to be jumping in here. It's about time, and we are starting things off on Trained. Really? Doesn't he drop out after the restart? Okay. No, shouldn't be. There's 6 on the roster, so surely not. Pause time. Okay.
It was literally like, we're going live, guys. No, we're not.
The Rob Dream. Yeah, no, he just realised. Obviously coaches have a more limited role now, so he's just like, oh, well, Alu, I know you just rocked up, but how about you just take some notes, and I'm going to weasel my way back into the lineup. So fair enough. Good on you, Rob.
Oh my word.
All right, he's probably forced to DC here as well, and we've had some interesting server situations tonight. So
It's all fun and games, Mitch. You know, it could be worse. We could be actually at Gamescom doing this.
Oh, God, can you imagine
that hill?
It's so hot in that hole right now, really.
It is just like, there's no nice reference I could make about it. I had about 3 in mind. None could be utilized.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's great fun when you haven't done the last 6 of them or whatever as well. So I'm looking forward to just checking it out on the weekend and whatever. But we've got some good CS to sort us out in the meantime, at least, Lauren. So also this is best of 2 or 2 maps that we're going to be seeing here. We didn't really get to see the funny pop through the graphics at the start. It is obviously Train to start us off, and then Mirage, I think, for the second map as well, which should be quite interesting here. Especially Danish teams on Mirage, always I find quite interesting. I always loved actually FaZe versus Dignitas on Mirage was always very interesting.
Gorgeous matchup, yeah.
And FaZe schlacked Dignitas at the Cologne qualifiers there as well, sort of ending that spree of them sort of struggling against those Danes here. So obviously what XSK is they're called right now.
What is this?
Obviously Team X is who they are. See how they perform here. But I mean, you know, Henry G is feeling good about this lineup. He's feeling confident.
Yeah.
Glaive, obviously, we saw him at the major. I thought he had an excellent his series against VP, even though ultimately Astralis lost that one, was very, very good from him especially. So, good feels. Also, these guys are going to Northern Arena soon, but Moddy's not going with them. They're actually bringing Nico in. Not Nico from Mouse Sports, Nico from Tricked. Another up-and-coming Danish player, I think. Or Swede. Swede, I don't want to get it wrong. Either way. So not using Moddy for that tournament, but that would be your first chance to really get a look at how Team X is starting to shape up at LAN in the future.
All right, guys, we're actually live. It's been the tease of the century, I promise you. But on the T side, as said, it does tell us it's XSK Gaming, but it is Team X, and on the CT side, FaZe coming through this one, and already pressure coming down Ivy. Yeah,
that's right. And you see, AZ's going to be forced to give a bit of ground here early on. Jacob, though, picks off Schnapp as he comes straight through, and Jacob has the angle here. Gets himself 2. Glaive going to fall to that one now as well. And that last player in it, which is Valde, trying to find a way through with only 16 points of health, is going to make very minimal headway. And now FaZe is going to be caught in the corner here. It's a matter of FaZe to circle, to pick him off, like carry and foul. A minute 20 left in the round, but FaZe is not going to see not too many more of those seconds. And FaZe will win the pistol there fairly comfortably. It was a Gambit attempt through Ivy for SK, completely shut down by Jacob. He wasn't really reinventing the wheel to get in that position, but just sort of set up to pick them up there.
All right, so Tech9 buy-up coming out, not too surprising for Team X. Apologies for my being quiet at the start there. Yeah, you know, the in-game starts up quiet for me. Turned it up now, it's all good, it's all good. We've got the UMPs out to play as well for FaZe, so farming time is coming through. And actually, I like them hitting B on this side. You can normally get a plant off the back of this, but, you know, the CT side will have 2 players, but Alu just got wrecked, but the 1 M4 that is on the CT side will be placed here as well, so hopefully he doesn't get overwhelmed. So those Tech9s are coming in pretty fast, and already Keo taking some damage. He's the one who really can't afford to fall here.
Yeah, we see Glaive trying to make things happen. Somehow gets himself 2 kills there with that Tech9, 15 points of health, and then Rain comes flying around the corner here, so it does leave FaZe on his own. No armor to speak of here, and that Molotov should keep him at bay. No, he's going to go over the top of it, so going to lose 66% of his health or thereabouts, and then be sat up on that top railing, trying to make his way in, and it will be Rain to pick him up there. Just 2 players from FaZe were sat through mid and just flashed themselves over onto that B site pretty quickly to shut that down.
Yeah, bomb plant and 3 kills, really nice stuff, to be fair. I'd be happy with that at that sort of point. They could have probably done more if they'd not been destroyed by Rain. That was pretty much the one problem that came through. That was actually quite nice, though, outside that. However, before going this round, just going to go through with the P250s. And again, if they can work out a plant from this, again, just hitting that B site possibly, that would be absolutely perfect, just to give that a really nice, robust economy. But might not be the plan here, might not be the play. Maybe don't want to do the same thing twice.
Yeah, well, they have no utility to propel them onto either side here as well. So it's going to have to be pretty much starter's gun goes off and they have to be off and running. And just trying to play just a contact push onto B. Just go for it really at this stage here. And they will head up towards upper. Maybe Snappy will stay for the lower side here as well. Yeah, so they'll split at 4 and 1 at this stage. Kirishima, though, going to already see a little bit of action on the top side there. He catches Glaive as he falls to the ground. Alu chimes in as well. And it's the UMPs and the M4 combos getting it done. FaZe, the only man to get a kill.
I don't think they recovered the M4 at least, so Keo's going to be either dropped out or have to reinvest into something, or a stick maybe on those UMPs. I think there is a phrase for these rounds if they stick on those UMPs, but I'm not going to say the name of it. But on the T side, we've got that decent buy coming out. So 1 bonus to get those plants in and still doing a fair bit of damage outside of that. They've got the nice utilities to play with. So this is the run that I'm actually looking forward to seeing is what can Team X do, because they've kind of stuck around on the radar a little bit more than other teams who took the break. Already FaZe are going to be peeking in towards A. 3 players pushing up quite close. It's actually an aggressive hold from FaZe. Ray needs to hold down by Ivy as well, otherwise that all falls apart.
And that threatens FaZe really quite heavily here. You can see he's backing away pretty much instantly now after taking that early damage from the nade. And this is Jake can get up in position now as well. So FaZe wants to even get into tunnels or peek out on towards the train site. Jake will be there to catch him. So a lot of real estate being bought up here by FaZe in the early stages of the round, and that will give them some comfort, a little bit of flexibility going further.
And well, one of the big bonuses here for Team X is they don't need to be particularly rushed. They have all those mollies to be able to try and make those hits a little quicker. They've got all that utility. They can make the play whenever they want to, as long as they don't get pushed or caught out. I have to work with, I guess, you know, numbers they really don't want to. Rain holding well as well. No one really feeling the pressure yet. And it does look like Team X will be going for that possible, you know, big A smoke hit, which completely feasible at this point. It looks like they might be lining up already, or at least pulling themselves back to positions that work around it. Could still switch things around. Moddy's going to fly through pop, I can imagine, at some point, and they'll go towards that A site. Let's see how this goes, though, because Kio's pushed up by Electric. AZ's not far off from Jacob, though. Does get flashed. He can't really influence this. The hit's about to come in. Let's see if the T-side can make it count.
Jacob trying to respond with a flash of his own, but Kiyoshima smoked out. Wasn't really able to capitalize on that one. But Jacob in a great spot to get the spray down as well. It's going to be just like that. 2 do fall there for XSK, but they reply. Snappy gets himself 2 kills. Now Kio as well, just trying to do some work from Evox. The smoke benefiting him for the moment, but it won't be up forever. FaZe picks off Alu, and now you can just see Team X just trying to converge on towards this one, but Kio holds strong, was threatened from 2 angles, and manages to pick up the USP kill at the end.
Yeah. 4 rounds now for FaZe, picking up that first gun round coming in. Going to send the Team X boys back down to something a little less than ideal. So not really making much of that one. The pushed up positions working out quite nicely for FaZe there. You know, obviously looking at that one with your minimap, you know, with X-Ray on, it would be really nice to see a bit of a split down Ivy just to really isolate a couple of the players, keep them from being able to create that
no information from there, really.
Yeah, exactly. Like I love to see a little bit less of a meat grinder coming in towards that A side, but it's never going to be easy, and it's not always something they can read into at that sort of point. But on this sort of bite, you've got a lot of smokes to play with here. I'm wondering what their plan is, because last time when they hit that B site, it was pretty bare bones. Again, they'd still got the plan on those 3 kills, so it's not like incapable of doing so. I'm just wondering where you put 4 smokes to here.
Yeah, definitely some towards the back, of course, and just maybe on connector. Alu obviously in a position to stand ahead of some of the smoke if he requires to now. So Valde setting up, as are the rest of his teammates there as well. Freeze staying near Pop Dog, I think, for the moment here, to able to sort of pop down a connector or rush across if he needs to here. But Kyo, yet again, will be ready. This is the position he's pretty much been holding so far. He's going to get pushed from the right, though. We'll get just 1 down, but Snappy trades in. That's worthwhile here for Team X as they press forward. Snappy now has a smoke, gets himself up close and personal, but Alu and Rain chime in.
It's actually quite a nice piece with those smokes coming in. It really allows them to get the plant and actually clear out those closer areas and maybe push up with those Tech 9s. Now, though, they're down to the P250 no armor, which you're not going to get much. Yeah, it's all done. But they at least got the bomb plant out of it. Again, a bit more of an investment there with the smokes and everything else off the back of it, and only getting Kyo down. You know, it's not a bad result for what they have.
Well, I mean, the one smoke towards connected there as well from XSK, that is doing my head in. Corral 3 players from FaZe. It forced 3 players from FaZe to sit back behind it. Smoked was actually Kiyoshima was essentially with 1 smoke completely isolated.
But this is the thing, if you're seeing Team X pull out these nice little set pieces already, I really hope we get to see maybe a more refined hit towards A throughout this game. That one just seemed to be kind of picked to pieces very early on previously with Saw on kind of the first buy round. But this is what I'd like to see here. Actually trying to play through Ivy, but now the counter's already come out. You've got players pushing up as well. AZ and Rain, I think AZ is actually the one who's gone on top there. He's going to get a little bit of a boost. But Glaive, I might suspect this. You normally pre-fire this position, so I wouldn't be surprised if they actually just spray towards us. They've heard enough noise, and there's the pre-fire coming out from Glaive. Yeah,
we can see quickly FaZe have broken free of that formation, though. Now Rain and AZ both just splitting out. Rain will play a little bit further forward here, looking in the direction of Pop Dog, just to back up Jacob if he needs some assistance as well, especially that 1 tunnel push out from T side not being so closely watched, and now Rain will be in charge of that. AZ's on Ivy duty for the moment here as well. Valde had the position there as well. The counter boost comes in, and FaZe, well, at least AZ wasn't ready for that one at all. Now, things starting to open up just a little bit more, but Alu will still be working through Ivy there.
And the reason I really like this is it really isolates the players who push forward. That's only Jacob right now. The others had to fall back into slightly more passive positions, try and set a bit of a crossfire for the push through Ivy, but Jacob is doing everything he needs to. That's 2 already back-to-back for him. He doesn't need to worry anymore. Glaive's been shut down, it's down to Freeze, and well, I don't know how much he can achieve from here. 1v3, they've got the bomb very much to hand. The positions are working in their favor.
Oh my.
6 shot from Freeze, though, finds Jacob perfectly. Expects the follow-up on top of the train, but 30 seconds left. He's got to isolate these 2 pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the chance of a bomb plant for FaZe is, well, pretty much nil here. He either needs to win the round or just going to die in a few seconds. And Alu just peeking for information. I think Keo did just see him there as well, or may have at this stage. FaZe have had a chance to get up towards Alu, tags it through the top. But no, Kiyoshima is going to save his teammate's life there. I mean, at the very least, FaZe would have been able to do some damage. At the very most, he could even have won the round off the back of just one more lucky shot. But no plant here. So for Team X now, again, that round loss bonus is maxed out. Not going to have a heck of a lot to work with here as well. It's going to be Galil for Modi, but this is nutty stuff from FaZe. 2 big shots in a row.
Tracer fire. That was, yeah, really, really nice. But oh, how unfortunate was that to get the tag as well? Because he spotted, I think he saw Keo as well then. So, you know, it would have been a bit of a quick flick to even consider hitting that, but it became a little more possible once he knew where both positions were. But this is different now. We've got a little bit of a different hit coming out from the T side. They're going to be looking straight towards B, possibly. They show that they do have set plays towards B earlier when they had that Tech-9 buy-up. The smokes came down, to connect, isolating a couple of trains from each other. And this looks very similar to that. The only difference being that FaZe isn't quite there yet. He could be joining them right about now, but the sense is coming through. There's 3 players here from the CT side. Already Alu's smoked up, a great positioning from Snap. You will catch Rain trying to peek on the train.
Keo was perpetually flashed there as well. He doesn't even know how close these players are to him. Alu, those two smokes completely cut him off from that fight. Excellent execute there from Team X. And now, of course, there's just 2 players left on FaZe. And, well, Jacob and AZ probably not going to have a bar of this one here as well, at least for the moment. They're just going to spread out across the side of this A site. Lovely, lovely, lovely execution there for SK, really. Modi came in there with the Galil as well, still got that kill. Keo didn't know what hit him. He was actually playing up on the spool towards the upper side of that B site. 1 smoke in front of him, flashes all around him. He couldn't even see the fact that 2 players from Team X had already gotten to the back of B site and were threatening Alu.
See, that was the more impressive thing for me was the fact that Team X pulled that off against 3 players already in that spot. Modi being kind of cheated ahead of the others, or I think it was Modi quite possibly, I'm not too sure. Who was actually on the CT side?
Yeah, I think they threw him in first there.
Yeah, it was Modi who came out for the Ts first. Who was there on the CT side who was there early, who was pushed up? I can't even remember. I need to look back at that. But they still had 3 players there ahead of the curve, so kind of putting one there early just allowed them what normally would be a favourable fight for them.
I'm pretty sure Rain rushed
it must have been Rain.
The bomb site.
I don't know. I'll look back at it. But yeah, really, really nice stuff. So again, really impressive. First round comes in. But then you look at the scoreboard, it's 6-1 already. It's a little bit one-sided, but it's train.
Yeah, I mean, and SK, that big setup they tried on the A side, I think, round 4, they had no information as well, so it ended up being this contact push they tried to set up, but it kind of got botched and came down to the wire, but still weren't able to make it happen here. So Rain, again, fairly forward positioning here as well. Wants to threaten FaZe as he knows he's going to go for the peak, so using the edge of the smoke could give him the edge here.
I like this from Keo, though. Finally showing some CT-sided aggression for himself over by B. Going to push up towards those brown holes, or at least have a little bit of a swing over. Has to be kind of careful, though, because the players are sitting back on the other side.
Last round, he got caught out by a smoke thrown towards up, so he's now even closer up over towards brown holes than he was last time. He's been slowly, each round, getting a little bit closer and more aggressive up here as well. And this time, he's got free passes through. There's no one here. The
more important thing now is that they're able to free up Alu. Alu can go, okay, well, I'll try and put myself over by A because that seems more likely, but Keo cannot die. He now needs to back away and play this one smart, not overextend and cost them an open bomb site. So he's going to back away from this one. A couple of mollies coming down, a couple of pieces being put into play already by A, but Team X haven't committed. They still got a minute. They've got enough mollies and smokes to create what they want to, but this looks like that A hit that hasn't really worked out. Last time, they got completely mowed down by those aggressive positions coming out by FaZe. And it might be the same case here.
It almost looks like FaZe are ready for some sort of execute here because it was AZ pulled himself away from Ivy and they're all looking in this direction right now where Team X are. All of FaZe is set up to receive this kind of setup push here coming in from the tunnel, and it's going to happen now as well. AZ going to go forward first. Missed the first shot, doesn't quite get it happening there. Valde gets the spray down, but there's the orbs coming into play. The double AWP of AZ and Alu getting it done. Now AZ can take 5 here, just heading up to the top of that train. Bomb is loose, but Modi has also been set off the chain. Gets himself 1 before dropping, and it's just FaZe.
That early CT info was huge, but now FaZe back in this position, this time with a far, well, less chance in this. Look at that time, he's got none of it left, and 10 HP as well. Gonna make a dash for it and save that AWP. But again, they're getting close. That's the thing, Team X keeps getting close, but not quite enough to the bomb site. They lose too many people on the play. They keep committing towards these things. But I just loved what Keo did there with Alu as well. Being able to free up Alu was brilliant, because then they pulled the double up over towards A, which, you know, it can get a little confusing, but it worked out really well for them. It was AZ, I think, and Alu running that. AZ a little bit closer, pushed up towards T-Com, but yeah, Alu picking up a good, bit of presence there as well for himself, which is exactly what you need. So Team X, I don't mind their defaults. I like their B hit. It works out quite nicely, even if it doesn't get the round. They're getting what they need with the plants and such, but I don't know if they can keep doing this. FaZe are getting more and more confident. You can see these positions. The CT aggression is really coming through now. And this could be different, though. Alu's actually not here to start with.
Yeah, it's just Keo at the B site. A little bit thinly spread here, but Jacob is in pop dog, so he can flank up on this one and go towards Brown Halls a little bit later on, midway through this push, perhaps. Alu sets himself up. I mean, he can easily be forced back by a smoke here, but there wasn't one. FaZe just peeks his knee out. And you know what happens when you take an AWP shot to the knee? It doesn't normally end very well. And Keo does see one player drop down on the side. He doesn't know who else is there, and Glaive can use that against him. Gets the peek, and the bomb is down.
This is nice. They have numbers here, but they're losing them out already. Glaive stepping out towards Alu with the AWP. It's retake time, though, and a double AWP on the retake is going to be tough to put into position. However, Modi, this is great. This is good stuff from Modi. He's going to work his way around the back, but timing becomes everything now. Where are these CT players trying to pull themselves in from? And Snappy's got a great angle on one. Modi finds Alu. That's the position I was excited for. Modi all the way round the back now, raining the 1v2. One flash, he does have a kit. Tag comes out, Modi spots him, it's Snappy to close. Good stuff finally from Team X. I love that B hit again, really working out well.
I generally think, I mean, both rounds that Team X have won here have been B executes in which they've managed to get players onto the site early on as well.
Why is it hard today, aren't they,
don't even get me started. Alu, I mean, the position that Alu takes there as well, he knows he's eventually going to have to move. There's normally a smoke that comes down there. The fact that he got freeze for free before he's actually smoked out of that spot is pretty nuts in itself, but then Team X already streamed onto the site and had control there, and you saw Rain, he had to look in two different angles.
So I guess the one problem with the double AWP is playing retakes on them is not too fun.
Alu changed to an M4, but still it wasn't enough at that point.
And this is not as you broken FaZe, but they are on a far than perfect buy, and they're going to try and make up for that. Jacob's going to go walkabout towards T-Con, look to see if he can find any information there, spot anyone out, just holding the angles. Freeze was a little further back with the AWP, so being aware that this could be a possibility. Keeping that in mind, they don't want to overcommit just yet anyway. You can see what they're coming up to, see what they're trying to test the waters with here. And Team X, again, we've seen that they do have a very diligent B hit. That's been those 2 rounds so far. The A hit hasn't quite had the same success yet. I wonder if we're going to see it coming out again.
Jacob has to be somewhat careful in this position here. There are a couple Team X players just above, listening out for any movement there in Pop Dog. But SK, send those two, ex-SK should I say, send those 2 players. Change the freaking team name in-game. Come on.
Just wonder what you're going to say.
Come on. Get it done. Easy stuff. Either way, though, Team X now making their way through. Vale being left still in Ivy for the moment, and Jacob still hasn't been threatened given this position here. Don't know how much he can hear or really gain from being here, but that flash goes in there as well.
So they're throwing the smokes out towards A and they're going B. I really like it, although there are still 2 players here from FaZe. Alu still tucked himself in, but he's the one with the M4. This could spell trouble, but no, he gets dealt with swiftly by Modi, and now the bomb is looking viable. Bomb's going to go down now, and the 2 remaining players are going to have to consider their option. AZ, I don't know if you want to come in for this one or get this close by here. A little bit risky to go for.
Yeah, and then
very risky to go for.
Just had the deagle there as well. I mean, it was a little bit later. The timing was off. AZ wasn't even in position, really, if they wanted to try and double peek onto anything of that sort. But interesting moves there as well. I like the little fake play. I mean, Alu, nice. Probably the most well-equipped player on the side of FaZe to deal with a push like that, but he set himself in spools, which is so often a one-and-done spot. Got the bomb loose, but then he drops down, and then Kira was sat at the back with a deagle and not able to do much there at all. So
we do have La Pause. And we've been told it's a TeamSpeak issue. I've always loved these. Like, I've never had issues with a TeamSpeak, but it's the one consistent excuse that I always hear.
No,
I don't just mean from these teams, but you know what I mean? It's always like, TeamSpeak problems. It's like, what's gone wrong with your TeamSpeak?
Yeah, it's like, I have Microsoft Sam voice on it. I want the female voice on there, okay? I'm sorry, I don't like the way it sounds when someone enters a channel.
We're all about diversity here.
Exactly.
Okay?
Check your privilege, all right? I don't want Microsoft Sam all over everything else. It's 2016, Lauren.
Look,
enough of this.
I'm just glad to see females getting jobs where they really deserve. I'm not even going to start going down this because I'm just going to see the emails start piling in like, do you think this is appropriate, Lauren? Yes. It's always good. But no, there has been TeamSpeak issues, but it's also a great time for a discussion between both sides because I'd say Team X have actually had a really nice kind of approach to the game so far. I actually quite like it from them. It may not necessarily stick the whole time, hence the scoreline. It's 7-3, but their B hits have been beautiful to watch. Their B hits have been the one actual play that's gifted them rounds. They've not won a single round when they've gone A or played any other approach. But outside of that, this has been really nice from them. It's been enjoyable to watch. I think if they refine that A hit, that could be a really nice map for them. But overall, FaZe so far have looked good. I don't know what more to say. You know, Alu hasn't shone beyond belief for me, but it's, you know, it's the first half and the first map of 2 here. So again, it's still too early to read into much, but it's going the way I kind of expected. I will assume, however, down the line that FaZe will pull themselves back into this one. They shouldn't be able to, they shouldn't drop the ball. If they work out how they want to counter that, working out whether it's a B hit or not, that could just completely lock out Team X.
Yeah, I mean, look, FaZe are your perennial 9-9 problems, but skill ain't one kind of team, really. It's
Is
just
that
a
really
matter
a thing, Mitch?
It's a thing now. You're damn right it's a thing, Lauren.
I don't want it to be a thing.
Can't stop it. It's coming in hot. Point is, right, FaZe, we're just seeing their CT side being tested here as well. We're more interested in how SK are actually orchestrating some of these hits. XSK, Team X, that all sounds the same, doesn't it? How they're orchestrating their hits towards these sides. I want to see some Ivy play as well. I think the one time they got a pick through Ivy, I think they had the counter boost. It ended up being FaZe in a 1v2 to try and save the round. So see what they can do on that side of the map.
Okay. I completely didn't look at the buy then from the CT side. I was like, wow, this is really weird. Makes sense now, a little more. They have no money, so they've gone for the stacked all day.
No, they forced last round.
Team X will work this out. They should have a really clean round here. You shouldn't lose much to these sort of rounds.
Did you watch the game on Monday?
Sadly, the triggering was real on Cobble. Trust you me.
God.
I was sat there screaming at my screen. It happens, but it shouldn't, and I will stick to the fact it shouldn't. And I will not give it credence, Mitch.
All right, well, FaZe, again, going to be kept at arm's length. They want to try and filter back onto this B site here, and accordingly, Team X are giving them plenty of space here as well. Going to work the rifles at long range. Keo just still checking towards A now, may make his way through connector eventually, but like you said, Lauren, should be pretty cut and dry, and we're going to move right on to the next one in a few moments here as well. So, I mean, FaZe are in this position, actually, to be fair. They lost that one round where they both had buys. Last round was a force, and Team X actually hit the one site where they were weakest. They had one rifle at this B site last round, and now, of course, they're on pistols. So that's kind of how we got here. It has been Team X really getting rounds few and far between. This last spree of rounds has been off the back of one good gun round, and then the rest were eco bashes to a degree.
Yeah. This is a buy, though, coming back in. We won't be seeing the AWPs coming out, which actually worked out quite nicely on controlling those A hits. And I wonder if actually Team X will go back to maybe hitting A because they feel as though maybe those AWPs were actually quite an issue, being the problem. You know, Keo's on the server. I might as well make some nice memes about that while I'm here. But yeah, 7-4. I really want to see Team X try and hit A now. I don't think they will, but I really want to see it. I guess if you've got something working, why change? But, you know, there's a lot of flaws in that logic.
It's a stonewall here for FaZe and Ivy as well.
Yeah.
Valde just wanted to test the waters, or at least rattle the cage of FaZe with the flash thrown in there. He's not even staying around, so the rest of it, Team X are heading over to the B side. It's just Kiyoshima there as well. Now, Alu, if he's stopped quickly and if his timing's not pretty much on point here, he's not going to be able to do a heck of a lot. He's not AWPing in this case either. So Keo, for these first few moments, will have it all to do. Still no one's made their way through. He goes down. That side is Team X's. Alu's going to get there a little bit late. There probably should be a setup here already. And you can see he has to take his time. Molly now cuts the side off, and it's all under control of Team X.
I love Modi playing those sort of positions. When he does it on Mirage T side as well, playing through Palace towards A, it's all about timing and how he feels the situation's going, and he just nails that shot towards Keo. So that's completely cut off the side. This is completely under control by Team X, and again, showing such dominance on that one specific hit. It looks so good when they do it. I can imagine teams will look at it and go, okay, well, that's a little bit of an ace up their sleeve. Let's keep that in mind. And Valde's going hunting. He's not going to let them get away with this one. Again, their money is pretty much in tatters at this point, so this is good work from Valde. He's got Jacob and AZ, however, to find. Now, Free's going to peek in, and going one by one might not be ideal against these boys.
No, I mean, this round is worth a 2 at least. I mean, we can start to... Oh, okay, AZ.
The feed is real.
I think Team X, yeah. All right, Team X still built up a bit of an economy. You can see they got tons of money, so even if they pay a little bit more dearly than they should in that round to get FaZe, I mean, this one here is looking pretty rosy for them as well. See AZ managing to hold on towards that rifle. The only one from what I can see with a rifle here, Lauren, but Free's got 11k, so again, Team X can make their way through. Was that an overcommitment of resources by FaZe to the A side there, or would you really just put it down to it shouldn't have been just Keo at B at that point?
It's again, though, it's about feel. If you're that solo player on solo sites, at least from what I learned from talking to these guys, it's about feeling. Sometimes if you don't get those audio cues or any of that sort of read into the game, it's about when do I feel uncomfortable? When do I need to call for that rotate? When do I need to tell my players to come back over? Now this is different though.
Early warning.
Keo knows what's up now, yeah. The alarm bells are ringing. So he knows that this is not going to be that default A hit. He's got backup here, but they are far from ideal. Again, the money has been broken for FaZe. Their economy is in tatters, and already they've been swept aside. That's 3 players, that's 4 players gone. Team X walking straight in, ahead of the smokes there, just trying to just take those one-to-one fights. Why not? It can get dangerous if those deagles were out, if any other resources were played with. That could have been a problem. But this turnaround, this swing up in performance now from Team X is absolutely gorgeous. But I want to see more to this. I don't want this to be that one-trick pony. I want to see them adapt off the back of it, but you understand that, of course, they're going to keep doing it until it doesn't work.
Absolutely.
And their hit towards B actually does negate a double AWP to some aspect. That's the one thing I'll say. It smokes off some of the positions, basically meaning they can't work it out. Now, FaZe are being sold a bit of a kipper here. They're being said, hey guys, we're going A, but Keo doesn't care. He wants to find out for himself.
But I mean, if he's going to play this site solo as he has been, then he wants to play more forward, so Alu has actually time to come from connector. Now, Alu is actually one of the players that's been pointed out, really, really good at short to medium range AWPing in general. He's very, very good at that. He's more than happy to come forward, and again, that's sort of helping Kiyoshima be aggressive on B. The information that Keo just got there as well, going to give FaZe a lot more peace of mind about where they need to be holding here. If they do see that classic Team X execute coming through, FaZe have been able to shut that down twice already in this game, and they shouldn't realistically have too many issues here either.
I'm not sure if I like them going back towards A when there's the possibility of that double AWP being up into the hands of FaZe now. It's playing into it. They've kind of done the double fake, so they had 2 smokes remaining for the T's. Now they've just gone in off the back of it. AZ gets completely caught with his pants down, but Rain's in a really nice spot. It doesn't matter. Glaive lands a shot. Jacob, though, on the cross, can't make anything else of it either. Team X just brute force their way through there.
Yeah, and Keo had to win that fight there as well. Modi picking him up makes it just so much easier now for Team X to settle on this site. 4 players still standing. Alu has the AWP. I mean, this is maybe not a position he would have had to expect to prove himself so early on in the piece. And again, he's just going to shy away from it because why the hell would you go for this at all? SK actually, or Team X, just worked in from the fringes of this A side as well. I think it was Rain who was left right in the middle of A with no support and was surrounded completely by Team X. So really nicely played. And let's see if Ali can keep this AWP. Not looking too rosy for him at this stage.
And considering the money is pretty bad for FaZe still, I think maybe 3.8 is the max they're going to have after the back of that. They can buy, but you're going to see limited utility. You're going to see limited amounts coming out. You know, you don't have the perfect buy into this. I very much doubt we'd be able to see an AWP coming through either. So again, Alu would have loved to have been keeping hold of that AWP there. He's not been having massive impact, but it's always a nice backbone to have there to go, well, if all else goes wrong, we've still got at least Alu to kind of pick some up here. But again, I'm really enjoying the way Team X approach the game. Personally, for me, I think it's incredibly fun. This could be a problem, though. That Mag 7 on the other end of this could have done so much more damage, but there's still Keo waiting in the wings.
Yeah, that's right. And they're actually not going to push towards that. You can see that Team X actually backing up on this. Obviously, money made by Rain with the Mag 7 doesn't mean anything right now. He was hoping to snowball over them and take him out on this push, but they backed away cleverly.
Yeah, Freeze actually managed to find AZ pushing out as well. So he was...
It's his battle for himself, but gets the headshot on towards AZ. And Modi comes out of nowhere here. He has the time to get the defuse. He gets it done with nothing but the pistol there as well. Beautiful stuff from the man. Even in some fairly compromising positions there over that site.
That was pretty sick. And he gets the A kill. A nice little bit of icing on the cake there. It's like, I'll get the round, defuse the bomb, take the rifle, and just share out the wealth. You know, because that's 2 bigger guns now coming in for the CT side. That's absolutely perfect. Modi can keep hold of the rifle himself. He dropped one out to either it be Freeze or Valder. So again, this resets the whole kind of display here. This is showing that Team X are not going down without a fight. These guys are putting up a really nice challenge, and that's going to throw a FaZe. They're back down to the deagles, the pistols, but don't underestimate these guys. We've seen what AZ's doing. He's operating at a really, really high level for him right now. The aim is certainly looking crisp already, but how much can you do? Snappy should be checking these sort of things. Information's been found, and that you can't really work into much here. The CT side needs to be careful on this aggression.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Snappy spotted Keo there briefly there as well, and AZ's going to go in and try and take a chunk out of him. Snappy goes down to 58 as well. AZ wants to hang around here. It's a bit of a gambit, but whatever he can get here in Ivy can really open things up for FaZe, especially given the kind of arsenal that FaZe have been forced to sort of roll out with here. Whatever they can get will be a massive bonus, and AZ will linger over towards Ivy. They'll lay up in heaven there as well. Great position to get shots like that down as well. Rain never really stood a chance, and now Glaive going to have to flash and try and give himself a little bit of time here. He knows the T's going to try and get up close and personal. Give himself a few moments there. Snappy finally makes his way through. He takes down AZ, who was testing Ivy the whole time. And now it's Glaive pushing back at the site. You can really see that Team X are trying to give a lot of ground here, but Snappy holding strong there as well. Another Ivy kill for him, and it's just Keo.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he can really get out of this. He could do damage. Snappy's low, Glaive's not perfect, but that bomb where it is gonna be hard for him. He's gonna find the first, can't connect towards the second. Freeze deals with the threat well enough, and it got a little bit close there. A couple of rifles have been lost. They were M4s. So it was marginally costly, but a round's a round here for Team X. You can't expect to be keeping these rounds clean, completely clean against a team like FaZe. These guys will punish you no matter what they have. So again, the problem being though, being on the CT side, money is the economy's pretty punishing. There's no two ways of saying it. Whereas for the T's, they're back onto the rifles. They've got a good deal to work with to build the plays from. Keo though with a quick smoke might take a little bit of a peek here towards T-Con. Doesn't spot anything. Takes a bit of a nade, but not too much.
3 here to Ivy, at least, to start with for FaZe, and actually they're about to take pole position here and force Snappy to have to peek in himself. Smoke up, Snappy goes in for whatever he can find, and so far, and we'll settle around this part of the map a little bit more. However, these 3 players from FaZe are persisting and hanging around here. So Razor's going to try and go forward and actually just get the challenge here on Snappy. If he does that, then the floodgates can open and FaZe can take control of this part of the map here. Another smoke comes in. Snappy can't see the wood for the trees here, and Freeze is also flashed away. Great setup here for FaZe. They can now work their way out of Ivy as Alu picks up Snappy. Valde trying to hold on, but this is just beautiful CS from FaZe. Couple rocky rounds here, Lauren, but that was expertly worked out from Ivy.
Yeah, the timing on the flash that connected towards Freeze was massive then. He was going to be the only counter to that play. The 3 players kind of pulling up through Ivy. That flash was so well timed off the back of that smoke that he just couldn't see. He tried to retract in towards the bomb site to find some cover, not going to find anything there. So again, really nice execution from FaZe. The timing was absolutely perfect, worked out so well in their favor, and then, they just absolutely decimated the opponents. Now on the other side for Team X, their money back down in the dumps. You've got a Scout, P250s, 5.7s, a UMP, not what you want to be seeing here for these guys. And FaZe just waiting to see what's coming their way. They're respecting this, they're playing the patient game here. You can't underestimate anyone at this point.
Yeah, I think Modi was trying to get up close there as well, and Alu picked him off as he was getting into position about where Freeze is standing now, just on the ground. I think that was where Modi was, so he wasn't able to get up and close and personal, and there's Jacob as well. Valde, again, trying to do the same thing. You can see what Team X are at least trying to make happen here, but they're not being given the time to set up, not find these close angles at all. This is a big courtyard. It's hard to set up like that. And Keo shuts down Glade to leave Snappy, well, all on his own.
I wouldn't, it is what it is. Only losing 1 player, really nice from FaZe. Their money's starting to get nice and robust. You're up to the 7K, or up to 7K on Alu, actually. But no AWP to be seen yet. Not seen that
Still
one come
not,
through for him. Happy to stick on the rifle. Again, this guy is incredibly diligent with both. You'd say, more of a star on the AWP, of course, but he can certainly pull his weight with the rifle again here. But on the other side, we've actually got an eco, Mitch.
Yeah.
This excites me for no reason.
other than sometimes get mildly tilted when you see these unnecessary things purchased or like half ecos and stuff like that.
I'm more chilled,
Well, then there's Vendetta who complains about pistols all day long. He's not a fan, however, but that's the way it is.
Halvor is a grumpy old man, all right. We like him, we love him dearly, but he's a grumpy old man.
He's drinking a gallon of milk a day for a while.
Yeah, he was telling me about that.
He's trying to put on weight.
This is vampire ways, you know what I mean? If you can't get the stuff he needs, he goes for milk.
Oh, my lord. All right, Jake, and welcome to the game. Glaive getting shut down there.
No armor, but a nice shot nonetheless. This should be one of those just kind of like brutal rounds, let's say. It shouldn't be a nice one. Jacob needs to back off, though. He doesn't want to risk in any way, shape, or form to lose out anything to a USPS. It's one of those rounds that actually for Team X, they can just talk through it. They haven't really seen much issues over by B yet. That hasn't really come onto the radar from FaZe, but they can discuss that round where it's quite that all-encompassing hit. That 3-play through Ivy, the one through Pop, and the one from T-Con. Because it's such a nice bit of play. If you time it properly, if you get the flashes and the smokes in the right place, you can just do that massive hit back-to-back. Yeah. Every single player, everyone feels pressured. That's a big thing when you're on the A side. So if they find a way to maybe work around that, whether it be aggression somewhere, trying to cut off one of these approaches, find a way back through it, that'd be really cool. So again, hopefully, for Team X, this is what they're going to be doing with the time.
I don't mind this from FaZe as well. Obviously, you did mention rather auspiciously that Alu not going for an AWP here as well. But FaZe, obviously, well, this is an anti-eco round, but prior to that as well, they wanted a contact push out through Ivy. They don't really need an AWP. They're not planning to try and pick XSK apart so much as just flash them out and run over the top. So, I mean, now you might be justified in going for a pickup here, especially knowing that Team X should be in a position to do the same here. But again, seeing no AWP brought up here by FaZe, are you still feeling they're going to go for a similar approach here, a bit of aggression?
FaZe, I wish I knew.
Mate, not even Rain knows.
But it is. It's a very aggressive play. You've already got 2 players coming out of T-Con, that being Keo, already getting himself pretty actually far up on this one. He's actually gone past one. That's Valde now left behind him. That's a problem. Not checking these sort of corners, still allowing him to operate becomes a pain. But Keo does deal with him. But in the meantime, it's Glaive and Freeze this time to finally provide the pressure. Get the kills in. Keo can't get away with that. Jacob comes through the smoke, but now it's all down to him.
Yeah, you're going to head over towards B there as well. Will be Modi waiting and FaZe in position, or at least setting up in position to sort of pincer onto this one. So quick kill for Jacob might yield something here as well. He does need to check over his right shoulder, as that's where FaZe is going to come from. I think if you're FaZe, you're happy with that one as well. Economically speaking, you've had a couple rounds to solidify. No AWP's been bought by Ali, so...
I have a feeling Jacob can do damage here, which terrifies me. No one's got a nade for the CT side.
He's got a molly still? He does.
He's got a molly.
God, not this again.
They should expect him to... no, I should. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. They've got enough smoke so they can smoke off the bomb site so you can't use the molly anymore.
No kit for Team X, though. That's the thing. So a molly might actually be able to win. And could have won in the round just off the one molly, to be honest.
Yeah.
Again.
They had the smokes though, so you can still extinguish the molly and
That's
then just
true.
get right on it. No kit can be a worry though. He was in a position now. Obviously, he didn't know any of these factors. He didn't know if they had a nade. He didn't know if they had a smoke. None of them. You can't find that out. So for him, that's just one of the
some
another tough
information,
situation.
but you got to peak with 13 health there as well, which is also not ideal.
Not fun. And now here we see it. This is what I've been looking forward to. Ali with the AWP on T side with FaZe. So far, FaZe is never a headliner for me. I know that sounds harsh, but I don't see him making huge impact yet. At least into this game at this point. He's been fine. He's been
chugging away.
That's the best thing I can say.
It out.
Perfectly fine. But Alu, I want to see what he does here, because Snappy and FaZe will be on the other side of this. So this could be a really nice opportunity.
So this might be a variation here on the contact push from FaZe on Ivy, but this time with an AWP here for Alu. So maybe just trying to catch someone peeking, but FaZe does it himself there. Rain is going to fall like his namesake, and now Alu actually is going to be smoked away from this one. Frustratingly, going to follow it up with a HG, but that's about all you can do except hurl insults for now.
Yeah, Rain basically does that to allow Alu to have the shot, hoping, or at least trying to bait out the play so then Alu can swing into it, but...
peek.
Ouch. I give FaZe a little bit of grief and he comes out and hits a bit of a blinder already. But again, he was sat holding the angle, so you kind of hope to be hitting those. But nice stuff from FaZe. And now Team X have so much dominance here already on that A site. I'm wondering if maybe they look elsewhere for options. How do they approach it now they're operating at a loss? That's the next big thing on the question mark.
This is a ponderous looking FaZe lineup here now, as well as they've realized that one door has been shut in your face, Laura. But you know what they say, when one door closest to you, some open. Well, there's two here as well, at least for FaZe to work on this B side. Modi, the only guy on B at the moment. So again, a quick follow through, a quick push on towards his side could yield some results. At the very least, a bomb plant for FaZe here. It's going to come down to how fast they can actually get it done.
And I'm kind of worried about Team X that they haven't even considered that this wasn't going to be an A hit. Now they're in trouble though. Modi somehow lives to fight another day. I don't know how he's gone away with that. Nice pop flash over the top. Could allow him to isolate AZ. Now he's got support. FaZe is here. Glaive is here. Snappy is on the way. And Modi does exactly as said. He goes straight in on AZ. He can't find Keo, but still he's caused a problem. He's bought time to deny the plant at least for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, 3v3 now as well. And Valdi going to be coming out from behind. This is a huge position. Alu falls down. Keo was on the bomb side. He's so vulnerable to pushes from Brown Halls now. And even Jacob's not that safe. Snappy just looking to try and mop on up here. And Jacob can't hold on his own. Good timing, good positioning from Valde there as well. And I think it was Jacob trying to go for the plant, or, he threw the Molotov at Modi's feet. I'm sorry, if you Molotov someone, you might actually be forcing them to run at you as well. When you go to plant the bomb, it's like, well, wait a minute. It's just as easy to walk across, take, 1-2 ticks of molly damage, and then get in their face there. So a little bit of aggression goes a long way. Modi did exemplify that statement now in that last round, and there is one round between these two teams here.
This is actually a really interesting game to watch.
Right?
Like, I know that sounds harsh, but you read the storyline of Team X, but it's hard to consider this. But let's get back to that point, because Keo is hitting shots now. Looking a little bit warmer, just running out there, hitting a shot on the go at that point. He's down to 10 HP, which is the problem. Valda gonna find one. FaZe outdoing Alu there on the peek out from Pop. Again, a very tough shot for Alu to hit, but he went for it nonetheless. That bomb in such a disastrous position as well for FaZe now. Team X can just pretty much tighten the noose around their neck. They shouldn't lose players, and Valda having a really big round here.
Yeah, no doubt about it there. It's going to be 80. At least you can reply here, but from Ebox, the bomb is, well, it's a reasonable way away from him at this stage. He needs to go and scoop that one up there off of the floor. Scoop it. What if Snappy has something to say about it, though, at this stage? It is very, very low, but Snappy falls to that one.
Yeah, and look how low FaZe is.
AZ still doesn't have the bomb, though. That's the problem. He needs to win this next challenge, at least. FaZe is backing away to B as well, who'll just hold a passive angle, so Modi is going to be the player left here to deal with AZ. He dies.
I keep getting nervous in these sort of situations. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's FaZe, right? You sit there, you're like, but they can do these. We've seen them do these kind of crazy 2v1s. Still yet to pick up the bomb, and both of them positioning down towards connector. This is interesting. AZ's not even... He's considering it in the fact that he's not peeking it, but he will do. They don't have nades. They do have a kit. That's the only one big benefit here now. They can tap under that, but he's going to hop up on top.
Boost
Still
on Freeze.
looking towards CT, and he's not checking connector. Freeze has walked out, and I think he's just seen it. It's a 1v1, Mitch.
I can't believe it now. Moddy's forced to push forward as well. He, of course, the healthy one, but he gets cut down by AZ, and it's all about FaZe. We sit back and we think to ourselves, Lauren, wait a minute, this is FaZe. This could actually happen. And SK let it all come crashing down. They came one round away from equalization, and then FaZe, who were in a position, they were teetering on the edge of bankruptcy from losing that round, but it ain't to be, and they'll buy up yet again into this one. Instead, it's Team X in Struggle Town.
Struggle Town. Oh, the struggle bus is waiting outside to pick him up after that sort of round. That's, oh man, that's not fun to watch. But that, well, it was if you're a FaZe fan. That's great for you to
You're
watch.
just chuckling the whole time. You can't help yourself.
Because you saw it happening. You started going, it's a 1v3.
Internal Lauren's doing a jig right now. I'm sure of it. Clicking the heels and everything. Wee boys, we just saw that.
I love those situations. It just makes my makes me a happy person. But there we go. Round out the way. I say round out of the way. The problem is that round out of the way for Team X, because they had sod all money, means that FaZe are actually on a really good point here. Now, this is a best of 2, I guess. They're just 2 separate instances of games being played, so 2 different maps. Next map coming up. Actually, I'm not sure. We got Mirage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I'm actually really excited. Seeing what we've got Team X bringing tactically or strategically on their T side towards Train, that's going to be sick on Mirage.
And also, like, the AWP battle as well is going to be something we put under the microscope. But we'll get to there, obviously. SK, after saving that last round, now have to buy here as well. FaZe essentially can buy for the rest of the game at this rate. Maybe 1 save if they're forced to, if SK win a couple more rounds. Team X, SK. You know what I mean, guys. Come on. No, easy as well, just testing here. He's, well, FaZe in general have had kind of a nightmare of a time trying to work in towards Ivy. Generally to get picked off. It was Freeze last time. He completely shut the push down. And it will be FaZe to make their way slowly into Brown Horse here. They're not sure if there's a player push forward aggressively. They all go as 3, and it's only just Moddy on B again. But we've seen what happened when Valde flanked up Pop Dog last time, so they need to be aware of this.
Moddy, how are you feeling about this one? AZ is going to try and sell this like a kipper. He can make great timing as well. If he can get around towards CT, I actually really like this play. It's something you saw Na'Vi do at the very start of Train coming back in, play through Ivy to CT, and then apply pressure, really try and split up the rotate, and Freeze is going to feel the brunt of that. AZ goes back turn, though, gets punished, and we're back down to a 3v3.
AZ was in a perfect position to shut down anyone coming in from the back of the B side, but now it's all gone by the wayside. A 2v2 at the very least to work with, and Glaive and Freeze are split across here. Glaive has to try and come in from Brown Halls or on that ramp, and Kia will be waiting diligently. He gets the headshot, he gets the kill, and now Freeze has to come in with a bit of a smoke to work with here. 2 players stand in his way. Team X need this round, absolutely need it. And Freeze only has a smoke to really help him get closer. He's just going to have to walk forward now. Flash comes in, he's able to turn that one and get away, but there's 2 players to peek into, and it's Keo who's there. He shuts it down, and FaZe are starting to warm up here. The song of victory, at least for this first map, is match point. And Team X let it go there in those last couple rounds. Disappointing from them, considering what we saw from them earlier on in this half.
Yeah, Keo's T side has skyrocketed for me as well. He had the impact of being able to open up that A side quite early on, and now you're seeing that consistency keep coming up throughout this game. I think he's actually got himself a really nice kill count, just to really confirm that out over there. But looking at this round, the buy from the CT side really is far from perfect. It's lacking in almost every single department, and again, look at this. It looks like FaZe just want to punish it straight up, go for the instant play towards B, and Moddy just going to get absolutely wrecked in the back there from AZ. Bomb's going to go down, absolutely no contest towards that. Ali watching the rotate.
What?
Ali? What? These look on as well. Like, some of those actually look like they were on. I don't know. And that's okay, 2 kills have just come back for Team X now.
Yeah, that's right. A scout kill and a UMP kill here as well. So AZ now, Bomb at least is down. So FaZe is just going to bare their teeth a little bit here. But Valde comes through. 2 players for Flash, and Rain and AZ going to fall now. It's Kiyoshima from upper side. He at least has a flash to work with to try and peek his head in now. Not sure what was that thrown at the side. Maybe a molly to try and stop it. But Snappy's in there with the kid. He's got the pliers out. He's cutting away at the wires. Is there a shot? Kiyo shuts it down. I don't think
They've got time.
There's time.
I think there's time. Woo. Wait. Actually, no. That is really close.
Yeah, they got it. No, what?
They got it. They got it. It was the last second. It was the last second.
Volvo.
Get wrecked, Mitch.
Just put a timer there, man.
That literally was the last second defuse.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. If you're Keo, you're like, how much can I do, Valve? What more do you want from me? 15 to 12. It's a lifeline for Team X here more than anything. It looked a little bit sloppy, to say the least, from FaZe there. I think it was like they saw the end round in sight and just kind of went in that B hit. Gonna have to pull themselves back in line here a little bit and maybe go for a bit more of a default play as, you know, you've got to understand the fact that Team X will be back on a buy, decent enough buy bearing in mind, and that will be FaZe back on the AWP as well.
Yeah, a breath of fresh air for Team X there as well. They were all but done. Turn that round around really nicely. Alu there, he had 2 kills lined up and ready to go there. Snappy shuts down the aforementioned. So Alu's had an absolute nightmare of the last couple of rounds here. Again, he and AZ trying to work this Ivy together, and there's just something there, something not quite working out for them now. Jacob trades in on towards Valde, and he gets a second on towards Glaive as well. So this opens A up. It's now Snappy who has to sort of sit here in this corner. Obviously, his lines of sight are severely impeded right now. He won't be able to see FaZe work in. The saving grace for him is there actually aren't that many people left on FaZe to come from those different angles. Modi as well in connector, so they have a semblance of crossfire if Keo wants to get a bit cavalier about things here as well. And Snappy peaks at just the perfect time. The timing for this guy has been excellent in these last couple rounds. And now Jacob has to challenge here.
AZ looking for an angle. And AZ still alive. 1v2, FaZe and Modi back in this. And I can hear more of Henry and Alex having a conversation than I can of the game. 30 seconds left in this round. And can he find this 1v1? Or are you looking for first? Spots out FaZe, he knows his position now.
That's right. Although he doesn't know about Modi. Modi's kept himself very, very quiet for the last 30 or so seconds. And AZ won't check it properly. Modi's there. And Team X are going to get themselves back in contention for this one here after the quick defuse to come out. Oh, FaZe as well. We said they had a fair bit of money built up. Economically, they were looking quite good here. I don't really know if they can afford to... I mean, if they're going to save... No, we'll get the money. It's fine. I don't have my... Yeah, scoreboard's not working. That's fine. Classic hardware setup here, Lauren. Either way, so FaZe can buy, as we've now recently learned. And then we'll come back here as well with an AWP for Alu and 4 AK. So they've got everything they need here. But that's not the rosiest looking bank account there for most of those players on FaZe here. So they definitely need to make sure that they dot their I's and cross their T's in this round. Make sure not to make any silly mistakes.
Yeah, but I think Snappy's actually pushing down towards Ivy. That's going to give AC the perfect opening. And Glaive, that's... I don't know, you know, it's one of those, it's brave at that sort of, it's just a hop across when AZ's been actually hitting these shots already. Going to reposition himself, and now FaZe look like they want to again hit towards possibly A at this point, unless maybe Jacob can find something towards Modi on B.
That was weird from Snappy. He hasn't pushed out like that. I mean, we obviously try and throw something a little bit different in here, but Glaive going to get cut down too, so there it is. I mean, Team X are the authors of their own destruction here to a certain degree, and this is still match point. They can't be forgetting this, and they now sacrifice 2 players as burn offerings in towards Ivy. They've got 3 to work with, 2 split towards A, and again, Modi getting pretty used to this, being the solo man at B. But when there's 4, 5 players from FaZe pounding down towards you, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, this looks like the final hurrah here. As Valor does at least find AZ, but that's really not where the problem lays. FaZe are about to hit in towards that B side. Modi is playing by that forward train position. Jacob, though, gets away with murder. Still standing on the second shot there, but FaZe will come back and do the damage. Traded out effectively by Rain in the end. Bring it down still to a favorable position for the T's. Another tag for FaZe. Unfortunate again here, but now the situation is looking worse and worse.
Yeah, that would have made it a 2v2 there for FaZe as well. At least Valde can chime in and get the extra damage across on towards... Nalu to pick him up there, but Keo takes down Valde, and now it's FaZe as well. In a 1v2, he's got the AWP, he's got a kit, so there is a little bit of margin time-wise, but he's just unscoped at the worst time. Keo comes across the very small gap there. FaZe unable to thread the needle in that regard, and now he has to sit back, but Keo gets sent into next Tuesday. Unfortunately, no time left for FaZe to get the defuse there, and Rain will finish it off. Oh my lord, blood pressure's up a little bit there as well, and that's not even just from getting the name wrong all the time, because it's set wrong on the scoreboard, Lauren. Impressive stuff there from Team X.
Yeah.
Not able to get over the line at the end there in the first map.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan already, though, of Team X. I actually really like what they brought into this game. I think that overall, I think most people at home would go, yeah, that's FaZe's game, even with the new addition. And yeah, it was FaZe's game, at least the first map. But I think taken away from it, I actually like the style that Team X bring. That was a close game. Yep. I'm wondering maybe when these teams do get back to playing and practicing more often, will Team X still have this sort of impact? I don't know. But so far, really nice impression from them.
Ivy especially has been such a tripping point for both these two teams, right? Like Snappy and Valde, or was it Glaive, both pushing out of that one there as well. We've seen that even FaZe have tried to set up trade scenarios there as well with Alu on the AWP. He's had his rear end handed to him multiple times there as well. And we talked about Alu coming in here. I'm sure the guys on the desk will get into there a bit more, but don't feel like we've seen it all from him yet. However, let's pass it over to Alex, Yanko, and Henry, see what they have to say about that map.
Thanks very much, you two. Yes, I think that should be our first port of call, actually. Of course, we have got a second map to see if Ali does turn up, but I think that was the main discussion in the pre-match. We were talking about whether or not he was going to, you know, fill the shoes of Fox, and it does seem like it was a rather underwhelming start.
Well, it's difficult, right? See, like we said, he hasn't had any preparation in this team. Literally not a day's practice. You're coming in, it's an official match. It's a difficult map to slot into. Train is quite an intricate team process to actually get towards bomb sites and actually have the decent crossfire set up as well. He's playing the connector area towards inside site and towards outside. Obviously, a lot of teams will do the set pieces towards the inside site. You're getting taken out with the smokes, and then you have to kind of rely on your individual knowledge of how your team is set up and how you can actually synergize with them. So I think you can't really take too much away from him, Alex. It's very early days, right? So it was a pretty poor performance in terms of what we expect from a player like that, but it's definitely understandable at the same time.
Well, with FaZe winning it anyway, I still feel like there is some criticisms to be raised on that first half. Yanko, Team X seemed to be struggling to find any way in at the start of things.
I think it was what we expected in general from this game, that it's going to be super messy, depend a lot on, you know, how the players perform individually. At the beginning, we saw FaZe was really good at shutting Team X down in that inner bomb side pushes, but then Team X woke up a bit. They managed to string some rounds together. I think that in the end, the round that decided the game was that AZ's 1v4, because it was a reset round for Team X. They just won a round. If they win that, then they get some economy going. Maybe FaZe has to eco at that point, but you see that they were able to bring it really close towards the end. If they win that round, I feel that they're the ones who win 16-13.
They did a good job on the T side as well, Team X. The fact they were 6-1 down, they had a horrific start, and then all of a sudden, they get one round, and they kind of found it a weakness, I think, in the FaZe armor. Like the fact it was inside sight. The fact that felt like a huge problem. Even though Keo was posting decent stats, I think he finished on 30 kills overall. It seemed like those were mostly when he was rotating to the outside side. When the actual team focused on the inside side where he was by himself, you're smiling.
I'm just smiling because I remember you were sitting there going, "Oh, Keo's getting locked out every round," and you were so surprised to look at the scoreboard. Like, how is this? It didn't correlate.
It was normally when he was rotating back from his pop dog was connected. He was finding a couple of frags there. But it's when the team, when Team X specifically focused on the inside side, that's when they lost like 4 or 5 rounds on the trot because he was like by himself. Obviously, you can see, like we said, like the Alu, he's trying to back them up. He's trying to slot in and trying to work out the best way he can be an asset to the team. Keo is like on the inside side most of the time and finding a real problem that you find that one kill. The problem is you're playing these anchor sort of positions. That's where you want to have your absolute best fraggers. So you'll see like players like Get Right for NIP, he plays there. Always good for like 1 or 2 kills, can lock it down. Very good awareness as to how a team will be coming into the bomb. So that's why you have your strongest players there and your clutches as well, especially because that means even though you don't come towards that site, you can actually have that player left over in the 1 versus 2s, for example, to actually pull it back and have that sort of potential.
So bottom line, Team X have already demonstrated that they're here to play, and we could have a very close Mirage, which is where we're going to be going to next, gents. We'll be talking about that after our quick break, and it will be a quick one, guys. We're going to go ahead and just catch our breath for a moment, and while you do that, you can head over to an application. You know what I'm talking about. It's called the Score Esports application, and you should go ahead and grab it on your smartphone while we take a quick hiatus. And when we do return, you can go ahead and find out how Mirage does play out, but you can have a quick look at Train over on the app right now. We're back in about 5 minutes, guys, with your second map.